This is Cars and Bids, and today I am going to discuss the current situation with the car market, specifically the used car market, which has been insane. Absolutely crazy. Our sales rate on Cars and Bids lately has been around 90%. Virtually everything is selling. Lots of stuff is selling for way over the reserve price. And today I'm going to discuss what is going on, why the used car market is so hot, and kind of what to expect. So let's get started. Okay, so before I get started, I want to remind you that Cars and Bids now has a merchandise store, a merch store. You can buy like Cars and Bids t-shirts and support your favorite local Cars and Bids auction website. And you can wear Cars and Bids merch if you want. It's kind of an interesting thing. So check out the Cars and Bids store. I will link it in the description of this video. But let's talk about the car market right now, which has really been absolutely wild. First, a little background on why the car market is so wild. Obviously, a little over a year ago, COVID hit, and I, like pretty much everyone else at the time, I thought that the world was ending, and that everything was shutting down, and all these businesses were closing, and the economy was going to absolutely tank, and everything was going to be terrible, at least for a while, and nothing would really be the same for months, years. No one knew. And yeah, businesses did close and people did lose their jobs. That did obviously happen. The markets crashed, and things really were shut down for a period of time. Well, fast forward to today, about a year later, a little over a year after kind of COVID really came in and started shutting things down, and the economy is very strong in a lot of sectors. Now, not for everyone. I want to be clear about this. Not everyone is back to work. Not everyone is benefiting from this really big boom that is really benefiting some people. But the car market specifically is on fire, especially used cars, which have been in huge demand lately. And if you're thinking about maybe selling your cool used car, truthfully, now is the time to do it. The market is insanely strong for reasons I will explain here. And I'm not just saying that because I want you to sell your cool used car on Cars and Bids, although I do. But there have been hundreds of articles and videos and pieces written about how crazy the used car market is right now. And we are seeing it every day on Cars and Bids with strong sales. Cars going for really big money. And so today I'm going to explain why this is happening, why this is going on. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, there are several major factors driving car sales to really strong numbers right now. Now, a few are economic factors that are just sort of generally benefiting a lot of businesses, that are driving a lot of businesses to some strong sales numbers, strong profits, etc. But there are a few additional factors that are particularly making the car market especially strong at this moment. So, the economy is generally strong for a few reasons I'll discuss, but the car market is particularly strong. And I'm going to start this with explaining some of the general economic factors that are so strong. Now, one of them is definitely cheap debt. Interest rates are tremendously low right now. Now, I'm not going to get political at all in this video. I'm not going to go down that path. I have no interest. I'm just going to give the facts here. And the facts are these. When COVID hit, the US government and other governments around the world, they responded to the perceived coming economic threat by lowering interest rates dramatically in order to help at least spur whatever economic factors, benefits they could. And generally, this has, when you lower the interest rates, when you're a government who lowers the interest rates, this generally has the effect of making people take their money out of banks where they won't be earning anything and buying stuff because it's cheap to do so. Interest rates are low, you can finance stuff. And that's why we're seeing the housing market so crazy right now in so many places. It's totally been on fire, and people are buying other things that are using financing, and that means cars. So low interest rates have been a big driver of some strong economic activity just generally over the last few months. And that has also been a big driver of the strong car market. Now, another general strong factor that has benefited the economy as a whole, not particularly the car market, has been there is just a lot of money in the public sphere right now, basically. In addition to lowering interest rates, the government also gave out a lot of money during COVID to business owners, to keep their businesses afloat, and to individuals. And again, no intention to get political here. Absolutely no opinions here about whether that was the right move or whatever. What they should have done differently or if they should have changed anything, but it certainly has, this decision to do this has certainly had the effect of adding more money into the world. Obviously, that's literally what they did. And some people seriously needed this cash for expenses, to stay afloat, to pay rent, to pay utility bills, or personal business expenses, to pay, their employees, whatever. But, some people, they never had a job loss. They got money anyway, and it was just a little bit extra, and they were able to use the money for other pursuits, and in some cases, that has been vehicles. And that increase in money over the last year hasn't just been in the form of cash. It's also been fueled by the stock market, which has rocketed upwards, especially in the last year. A lot of people out there who have a lot more money now because of a very, very strong stock market. Some of that money has come from that market. Some people have exited the market periodically as it has risen. Some people, have pocketed some of the gains. Other people are just very confident the market is so strong, so they're spending a little bit more. And that has allowed them to make purchases like houses and like cars, and that has also helped with the strong car market. So those are the reasons why, generally speaking, the markets have been strong lately. You have cars, you have stocks, the housing markets, they've all been strong for reasons that I've just described. Just consumer spending in general has been good. But cars and the car market has been specifically stronger for above and beyond just the general market for a couple of reasons that I will now, just the general market. And there are a few reasons for that. For the growth in car sales and car prices, used car prices specifically. So one big reason in my mind for the jump in car sales and interest in cars has simply been people who do have money during COVID, they don't have much else they can spend it on. For the last year in a lot of places, you haven't really been able to go out to meals. You haven't really wanted to, you've been nervous about getting COVID. You can't travel, for a long time, no one was getting on airplanes. Air travel went down like 98%. It was insane. People couldn't travel. And so, there's people that's sitting at home. You can't travel. You can't go out to eat. Events are canceled. You can't go to concerts or that sort of thing. You're not commuting. You're just kind of sitting at home. You got money. You're a little bit bored. You have more free time. So you think, okay, well, what can I do? Well, cars. I can buy cars. Cars are fun. They're something you can do COVID safe. You can go on a drive with your friends, all in individual cars and canyons or back roads, whatever. I think still during COVID. And so I think this has fueled a growth in car sales, just this general feeling of being kind of cooped up with some money and a boredom. And I especially think this has fueled the growth in off-roader SUVs. We have seen incredibly strong markets for lifted SUVs, for off-roader SUVs, for adventure mobile type vehicles. You can't fly anywhere, so why not buy a fun SUV that lets you go into the desert or into the mountains or down to the backcountry, wherever it is that you live, wherever, and just, enjoy the world a bit. Here's your chance to travel, get a cool SUV and do it. And so COVID in general has been very kind to cars and kind to the car market, pushing forward cars a little bit more than some other products. But there are also other factors that have affected the car industry specifically that have increased demand, particularly for used cars, which obviously is what we're selling on Cars and Bids. So right now, there is a big chip shortage. It's like a computer chip, like semiconductor shortage that started last year with COVID. When production stopped, and the chip shortage has actually increased over the last few months, even as a lot of places are coming out of COVID because demand for consumer products is very high, and specifically for products that people want to do indoors, televisions, computers, video game consoles. People are indoors, they don't want to go out as much with COVID, and they have a lot of money, so they're buying this stuff, and this chip shortage is very real. And the result of that is that it's been difficult for automakers and suppliers to get chips in order to actually produce new cars. And so that has seriously affected the production and sale and supply chain of new vehicles on the market, and this has led to a pretty strong lack of supply. Many new cars are just really hard to find. I have a friend who bought a BMW X3 2-3 years ago, got a deal, whatever. He went back to buy the very same car with his parents, and they didn't offer the same deal. Even though the model of car had gotten older by then, they were actually giving a worse deal than they were 2 years earlier because supply is just constrained right now. And when you have a constrained supply of new cars, obviously that pushes people toward the used car market. You start thinking, well, I can't get the new car I want, or I can't get the deal I was gonna get on a new car, so what can I get in the realm of used cars? And that has been benefiting the used car market considerably. And frankly, to me, the same is true of production just generally. COVID shut down a lot of car companies, forget about the chip shortage. COVID shut down a lot of car companies' production just generally last spring and early last summer. My new Land Rover Defender, that factory in Slovakia that builds that car was shut down for, I think, 3-4 months. And that affected the pipeline for months. If you figure a factory is shut down from March to July, then, in Europe, those cars don't actually start appearing in America until like May to September, and those shortages are still kind of being felt. You had people who wanted cars that period who couldn't get them, and it was a big kind of rush for demand, and there just weren't that many cars there. And that helped propel the used car market even further up. So there you go. The used car market is tremendously strong right now, really strong. We have absolute confidence in Cars and Bids right now. If you list with us, we will get your listing turned around very quickly. You can take advantage of this very strong market. You will get the most money for your car right now. There are a lot of buyers eagerly buying cars, and it's been tremendously exciting, frankly, to watch everything selling. It's been a crazy market, and it's been cool to see it all. And frankly, I'm totally thrilled to be a part of it and to be here for this and see it all. And that's been great. But there you go. That's why the used car market is so strong. Sort of a combination of general economic factors and car industry specific economic factors. And if you're thinking about selling your used car, your cool used car, now is probably the time. But there you go. A little economic report from Cars and Bids.